The blue lights washed over the parking lot and made everything feel unreal. For a moment, I stood there blinking, like I had wandered into someone else's trouble by mistake. I was outside the small convenience store near my place, boots still muddy from work, shoulders sore from a long day. I had bread and beer in one hand, my truck keys in the other. I wanted a hot shower and a quiet night. Nothing more. The cruiser rolled up slow. No siren, just lights and the soft crunch of tires on gravel. A woman stepped out in uniform, tall and steady, hair pulled back tight. A golden retriever followed her, calm and alert, tail moving like he was pleased just to be alive. "Evening," she said. Her voice was firm, not unkind. "I need to ask you a few questions." My mouth went dry. I nodded and tried to look normal. She asked where I'd come from, where I was headed. I told her the truth. 12 hours on a job site, groceries, home. The dog's nose lifted, and he gave a short bark, pulling toward my bag. She smiled a little and took his collar. "Sorry, this is Max. He loves food more than he loves rules." He circled me, nose working like he was sure I was hiding something important. I tried to laugh. It came out thin. She watched me closely, eyes sharp but tired. "Sometimes people hide things on their person," she said. Then she paused. "I'm going to need to search your body." The words landed heavy. I stood there in the cold, holding groceries, feeling foolish and exposed. She noticed. Her voice softened. "It's routine. You match a description, and Max is alerting." I lifted my hands. She stepped closer and patted down my jacket and pockets. Quick, professional. Still, my heart beat hard. When she stepped back and said I was clear, I let out a breath I hadn't realized I was holding. Max wasn't done. He shoved his nose into my grocery bag the moment it opened. She pulled out a thick sausage and stared at it, then shook her head and laughed. The sound surprised us both. "That's it," she said. "That's what he wants." The tension eased. We talked for a minute about work, about long weeks, about being tired. I noticed the shadows under her eyes, the way she handled Max with patience. She started to leave, and I felt the moment slipping away. Before I could overthink it, I said, "Officer?" She turned back. "If you had to search me," I said, careful. "Do I owe you dinner?" She raised an eyebrow. Max barked once like a judge. Then she smiled, small and real. "That might be the strangest way someone's asked me out." She wrote her number on a notepad. "Rosa," she said, "text me and bring a second sausage for Max." I drove home smiling at the paper in my hand. Later, sitting on my couch with rain tapping the window, I sent the text. She replied quickly, "Burger tomorrow, 7. Don't bring contraband." I went to bed feeling awake in a way I hadn't in years, not knowing the night still had plans for me. The next day moved slow, like it was dragging its feet just to test my patience. At work, my hands did what they always did: measure, cut, lift, fix. But my mind wasn't there. It kept drifting back to the parking lot, to blue lights, to the sound of Rosa's laugh when Max found the sausage. I hadn't felt that kind of lightness in a long time, and it made everything else feel heavier by comparison. By late afternoon, I cleaned up, showered, and stood in front of the mirror longer than usual. Nothing fancy. Clean jeans, a dark shirt. I wanted to look like myself, not like I was trying too hard. Still, my hands shook a little when I grabbed my keys. The burger place near Washington Park was warm and easy, the kind of spot where nobody rushed you. String lights hung above the tables, glowing soft against the evening sky. I got there early. Waiting felt better than pacing at home. When I saw her walking up, I forgot every thought I'd rehearsed. She wasn't in uniform. She wore a simple blue dress and a light jacket, hair down around her shoulders. Max trotted beside her, tail wagging like we were already friends. She smiled when she reached me, and something in my chest loosened. Dinner was simple. Burgers, fries, a plain patty for Max. At first, I could hear my own heartbeat louder than the noise around us. But Rosa had a way of looking at you that made talking feel safe. She asked about my work. I told her about running a small crew, about long days and quiet nights. She listened without glancing at her phone like my words mattered. She told me about growing up nearby, about choosing her job because she wanted to step in when others didn't. Her voice was calm, but I could hear the weight underneath. The kind of weight people carry without complaining. After we ate, we walked into the park. The path was damp, leaves stuck to our shoes, city sounds fading behind the trees. We didn't talk much. We didn't need to. At her car, she stopped close enough that the air felt charged. "Text me when you get home," she said. Careful, honest. I watched her drive away, feeling something new settle in my chest. Not excitement exactly. Something steadier. Something that felt like the start of a story I wasn't done telling. I got home and did what she asked. I texted. I set my phone down. For once, sleep came easy. Not deep, but hopeful. The kind that rests on the idea that tomorrow might hold something good. The phone ringing pulled me out of it. 2:17 a.m. glowed on the screen. Rosa's name. My heart jumped before I even answered. Nobody calls that late unless something's wrong. "Rosa," I said, already sitting up. Her voice was different, tight, all business. "Brian, I need you to stay calm." My stomach dropped. "What's going on?" "We just got a hit from a camera on 12th Street, she said. "The thefts we talked about. The suspect's wearing a jacket like yours." I rubbed my face, trying to wake up. "Okay. There's more," she said. "There's a truck in the video. Same make, same color as yours." The room felt suddenly cold. "That's not possible." "I need you to look outside," she said gently, "right now at your driveway." I didn't bother with shoes. I ran to the window, then out onto the porch. The space where my truck always sat was empty. Wrong. Too open. Like a missing tooth. "It's gone," I said, my voice barely steady. "My truck's gone." "I'm on my way," she said. "Don't touch anything. Stay where I can see you." I stood there under the porch light, barefoot on cold concrete, staring at the empty spot like it might change its mind and fill itself back in. My truck wasn't just metal and tires. It was my work, my tools, my week. Maybe more. Her cruiser pulled up quiet, lights off. She stepped out already focused, Max beside her. She found broken glass near the curb and held it up to the light. "This is real," she said softly. "You didn't imagine it." Relief came first, then anger, then fear, all stacked together. "I need you to come to the station," she said. "We'll make a statement and get this moving." I nodded. I trusted her voice more than my own thoughts right then. As I followed her cruiser through the dark streets, it hit me how fast a good night can turn. One minute you're laughing over burgers. The next, you're wondering how everything got pulled out from under you. And somehow, even then, I was glad it was her making the call. The station felt too bright for that hour. The kind of light that makes you feel smaller than you already do. I gave my name, my address. Answered questions that sounded simple but carried weight. Rosa stayed close, careful to keep her voice steady, careful not to cross lines she couldn't uncross. They showed me the video on a small screen. Grainy. A man moving fast under a streetlight. A jacket like mine. A truck like mine passing through the frame. The plate was useless, too blurry. My chest tightened as if the room had lost air. "That looks like your jacket," the detective said, not accusing, just stating a fact. "A lot of guys wear jackets like that," I said. I was asleep. Rosa nodded once. "He was home, I called him. His truck was already gone." The detective leaned back and studied me like he was weighing something invisible. "Anyone got a reason to use your truck?" I almost laughed. "Only people who hate power tools at 7 in the morning. When they finally let me go, it was close to 4. Outside, the rain had thinned to a mist. Rosa walked me to the door, her shoulders tense. "I'm sorry," she said, "about all of this." I looked at her. "Am I a suspect now?" She met my eyes. "Right now you're a victim. But the footage complicates things. We'll sort it out." I appreciated her honesty more than comfort. It felt solid, real. Before she left, she hesitated. "I'm working Sunday night, extra patrol. If you want, you can ride along. You know your truck better than anyone." I blinked. "Is that allowed?" "It is," she said, "if you follow the rules." Max wagged his tail like the decision was already made. That weekend dragged. Borrowed trucks, missing tools, lost time. Every truck that passed on the road made my chest tighten. Sunday night, I climbed into her cruiser, feeling like I was stepping into a different version of the world, one where the lines were clear and heavy. We drove quiet streets, Rosa explaining the thefts. Small things, food, packages, desperation. Then Max stiffened. I saw it before I fully believed it, my truck, parked half hidden behind a dumpster. "That's mine," I said, my voice rough. Rosa's hand went to the radio, calm and sure, and just like that, hope and fear stood shoulder to shoulder. We got out slow. The night smelled like wet concrete and old leaves. Rosa kept Max close and told me to stay just behind her. The driver's door of my truck hung open a crack. Seeing it like that made my chest burn. The glove box was dumped out. Papers everywhere. My tools were gone. Max barked once and pulled away from the truck, nose working hard. Rosa followed the leash, light sweeping across the alley. I stayed back, but I could feel something waiting there, holding its breath. Behind the trash bins, we saw movement. A small figure crouched low, digging through a bag like it was treasure. Rosa's voice shifted, firm but steady. "Hey, let me see your hands." The kid froze, then bolted. Max moved fast, cutting him off without touching him. The boy slipped on the wet pavement and slid to the wall, shaking. He couldn't have been more than 13, too thin, hoodie too big, fear all over his face. "I didn't steal it," he said, "I swear." Rosa crouched to his level. "What's your name?"
"Eddie."
She asked why he was there. His voice cracked when he answered. He was hungry. He'd found the truck already there, open. He took some snacks. I looked at the wrappers on the ground. This didn't feel like crime. It felt like need. Rosa listened. Then she asked him to show us where he lived. Eddie hesitated, then nodded. The apartment was dim and nearly empty. A woman lay on a bed, coughing, pale and tired. Eddie's mom. The room felt fragile, like it might fall apart if anyone spoke too loud. Rosa moved carefully, her voice gentle. She called for help. Medical, a social worker. She didn't promise anything she couldn't give. I stood there, feeling the weight of my anger shift into something else. My truck had been stolen. My work had been shaken. But standing in that room, it all felt smaller. When Rosa's radio crackled, calling her back, I saw the line she had to walk. The job, the people, the cost of caring. Outside, as we headed back, I knew this night wasn't just about a stolen truck anymore. It was about what you do when things don't line up clean. Back at the station, everything felt sharper. Voices, lights, the weight of decisions that didn't wait for daylight. Eddie gave his statement in a small room that smelled like old coffee and paper. Rosa kept it simple, gentle. He told the truth. About finding the truck already dumped. About taking a couple of snacks. About not knowing anything else. I believed him. Hunger has a sound to it. A shake in the hands. A look in the eyes. This wasn't someone getting away with something. This was someone trying to get through the night. Another officer came in with news. They had a name. A man who'd been using stolen vehicles to move fast and grab small things. Porch bags, packages, easy targets. My truck wasn't the start of it, just part of the path. When they said they'd found my tools in his place, my knees almost gave out. Tools are more than money. They're trust. They're how you show up for work and for people who depend on you. Rosa asked me to stay back while they went in. I hated that. But I did it. I stood in the hallway and listened to doors open, voices rise, then settle. When they brought the man out in cuffs, Max standing proud beside Rosa, I felt something heavy lift. They laid my tools out on the curb. Not all of them, but most. Enough. I ran my hand over the worn handles like they were old friends. Later, when it was quiet again, Rosa walked me toward the cruiser. Dawn was starting to soften the edges of the night. She looked tired in a way that ran deep. "I'm going to catch trouble for tonight," she said. I shook my head. "You did the right thing." She looked at me then. Really looked. "This job doesn't always reward that." I stepped closer, careful. "Then maybe it helps to have someone who sees it." She didn't answer right away. Then she reached up and touched my cheek just for a second. "Enough. I don't let many people in," she said softly. "I know," I said. "I'm not asking to rush." She leaned in and kissed me, slow, steady, the kind of kiss that didn't promise ease, just honesty. Max made a small, pleased sound behind us. The weeks that followed settled into something quieter. Not easy, just steadier. Rosa helped connect Eddie's mom with a clinic and a support program. It took time, paperwork, waiting rooms, but things began to move. My crew fixed a leak in their ceiling and patched the broken window. Neighbors dropped off groceries without making a show of it. Eddie went back to school. Sometimes he'd stop by my job site after class, not to work, just to watch. He asked about tools like they were puzzles waiting to be solved. Rosa and I kept showing up too. After her shifts, she'd come by my place. Boots off, hair down. Max would flop onto my rug like he belonged there. I cooked simple meals, chili, eggs, toast, nothing fancy. We'd sit at my small table and talk about the day, the hard calls, the small wins. I listened. She deserved that. One evening, about a month after my truck was found, I drove her back to the same convenience store. The neon sign still flickered. The air was cool. Max sniffed the ground like he was checking old memories. "Why are we here?" she asked. I held up a small paper bag. Inside was a deli sausage. Max barked, tail wagging hard. Rosa laughed, the real laugh that warmed her eyes. "That night," I said, "you told me you needed to search my body. Tonight I'm asking something different." She looked at me calm and open. "What? Do you want to do this for real?" I asked. "Slow, honest, no games." She didn't rush her answer. Then she nodded. "Yes." We stood there a moment longer. The lights hummed. Max leaned into my leg. I kissed her under that flickering sign, and this time there was no fear in it. Just hope. A while back I was just a tired guy with muddy boots and a grocery bag. Now I had my truck back, my tools back, and something I hadn't known I was missing. If this story stayed with you, linger a little longer. Some of the best moments arrive quietly, waiting just beyond the porch.